Office workers of Reddit, what's the most cringe-worthy reply all you've seen? Had a management peer send out a long screed about the state of the men's shitter on our floor. Very descriptive. Went out to all the men on the floor and a whole bunch of customers. A design artist at a print shop I worked at 10 years ago, I'll call her Zed, had always been one of those flaky but only just good enough to keep types. She'd create files that looked fine to customers and on screen, but required tons of pre-press magic to make printable. Zero real technical skill, when it should have been half her job. One day a little after lunch, a company-wide email from Zed to her husband came through where she described waiting with glee for the opportunity to purposely freak up a big repeat yearly job right before she planned to quit 8 months later. A lot of print jobs are on a yearly cycle with local businesses. This happened in February and referred to a $40K job that came around every October. As IT relief, I got called in to check what happened, and sure enough, Zed's other emails sent on her workstation's email address to her husband described other stupid things she was planning and referred to one of her husband's friends who worked for a rival print shop. So it was clear it was a bit of sabotage and probably upcoming poaching. Zed was fired less than an hour after the email was sent. I didn't mention to my bosses that the email to all the staff was sent when I knew Zed was out of the office, and had originally been sent before she went to lunch, and originally only to her husband. Our other designer, a quiet mouse type who could actually do the work, had seen the earlier sent emails at other times she needed to use Zed's workstation, and copied pasted this completely revealing email into a new email to the whole company from Zed's workstation. I just told her later in passing that I got her email about Zed and gave her a thumbs up. Two of the partners at my old firm were having a not very discreet affair. Both were married to other people. Partner A was in charge of the summer associate program and sent an email around the firm with information on the summers, names, schools, etc., who would be mentors for who, dates of events, etc. Partner B replied all to a 500+ person law firm, attorneys, paralegals, secretaries, everybody. I'm going to pork you so hard later. It was hilarious for several reasons, including his ultra seductive use of the word pork. A co-worker of mine was trying to motivate their sales office and was saying to get your hands dirty, and if we had any difficulties closing a sale, the girls should shake their little asses and close the sale. Reached our CEO. She wasn't there long. I was a temp in a very large law firm for a bit. One day, a new lawyer was hired, and HR sent out the standard email to everyone introducing the new guy and congratulating him on his new position. New guy then replies all and asks the HR person if his benefits package pays for a hair transplant procedure. I used to work at a law firm, and one day an email went out to everyone, about 40 people. That was about a specific case and had very little relevance to my job position, so I ignored it. A few minutes later I got another email from different attorney with a snarky response. Well, an argument started between these two attorneys, still replying all to the office. And after about 6 or so emails, a third attorney wrote, yeah, well, my dad can beat up your dad. By the way, you have been sending this to the whole office. At my firm, about 50 employees, there's a partner that used to reply all to conflict checks and other emails that are sent to all employees with X city says hello right up until the day when another partner replied all with no one gives a frick where you are today, Bob. Stop being an attention W. Kinda the same thing but different. I used to work for a company that was a vendor for Abercrombie & Fitch. I would send emails to different people that work at Abercrombie every day. One day I sent a request to someone at the company and got an out of office reply that basically said I am no longer with A&F. Frick this crap. Frick this place. Everyone here sucks. I laughed my ass off for a few minutes, then called a buddy that works there. Pretty soon the whole company was sending emails to this account just to read the reply. It took about an hour for their IT dep to get wind and take it offline. People would type their password inside group chats thinking they were logging into a particular system. I heard about someone where I worked that meant to send out an email to the whole department, a couple dozen people, to let them know that for their birthday they brought in donuts for everyone. People do this all the time. This guy, however, selected the email list for the whole company instead of the department. They were getting replies from employees in other countries saying things like, well, I don't know you and I can't travel there just for donuts, but happy birthday. About 12 years ago, I worked in a small office and a co-worker was telling a boring story to the whole office. My boss went to email me to complain. I was his sounding board, but accidentally replied all to another company-wide email. His message sent to the entire company. I wish Donna would have emailed me this story so I could delete it. She saw the email a few minutes later, threw keyboard up in the air, grabbed her purse and ran out of the office. My boss had to profusely apologize the next day. We use instant messaging, and there have been a few times where someone messages the entire chat group complaining about someone else's work or just them being generally bad at their job. Usually that's quickly followed by oops, as if that's going to make it better. I worked in a very large government complex and someone once replied all to an email that was sent to the 500 plus employees with the caption, "This guy looks like Reggie LOL." The picture was of a large, hairy man in a Speedo. I have no idea who Reggie is, but if the caption was accurate then he should consider buying some hair trimmers. I was working in an office during the Iraq war and I get an email from some random private. "You'll need to shut the heck up," puzzled by such a blatant attack. I checked who this guy was and who he sent it to. I want to say he sent it to everyone in every command in Iraq, Afghanistan, and a few other places. Some say that private is still doing push-ups to this day. That private is the sole reason we began pulling out of Afghanistan. We had this guy from the main office, Pete, who comes up from time to time. He's an arrogant butthole. I decided that I couldn't stand that smug prick within literally 30 seconds of meeting him. Anyway, we had quite a bit of turnover in our department since Pete's last visit, so our boss wanted to schedule a lunch so he could meet everyone. So, his admin sent out a mass email to see who might be interested in lunch on Thursday. I replied back that I wouldn't be coming because I had a conflict, and then I added, "Plus, Pete's kind of a fuckwit." I hadn't realized that I had hit reply all until I heard the scattered laughter all over our floor. Our boss came over, invited me into a conference room, and said, "I'd appreciate it if in the future you'd let everyone decide on their own whether or not Pete is a fuckwit." Thankfully, Pete wasn't on the email. Either the full staff email that was basically help, "My cat had kittens, who wants a kitten, someone please take a kitten from me," or the follow-up email she was forced by management to send 5 minutes later apologizing for being unprofessional. Working in the claims department for a huge insurance company, one time a claim handler sent out very personal customer information to the entire company, every single employee including the CEO, security staff, building staff, even cleaning staff. So, that's bad enough. But then we have this other guy decide to reply all to that email, asking the other guy why he sent him this message, blissfully unaware that the first guy sent it to everyone in the company. So now the first guy responds, still unaware of what happened, telling the second guy he has no idea how that email went to him. So this email thread goes back and forth. Reply all, these two geniuses investigating WTF happened, for like 10 replies. They finally decided it was a computer glitch. IDK how they still have jobs. A guy from my training class got fired for poor performance. He knew for months it was coming. On his last day, before the obligatory "this isn't working out" meeting, he sent an email to every single person who reports to our work site. I work for a very large company, so hundreds of people, estimating conservatively. That said nothing more than, remember, no one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition. I guess everyone thought it was prudent to hit reply all to send back their confused responses. For hours, my poor inbox was getting flooded by their stupid replies. That dude knew exactly what he was doing. Random user accidentally sends an email to an entire division of a large government agency saying "sure he late." An hour of people reply all-ing "remove me from this list," and then another hour of reply all-ing "don't reply all." The don't reply all loop is hilarious. I've witnessed it several times. I'll never understand the stupidity of several different people saying "stop replying to all" in a reply all mail over and over again. Okay, this one is technically not reply to all but close enough. The Dutch Railways has a timetable app with push notifications. Egg if your train is delayed. One morning last year basically all people in the Netherlands with this app, that's millions, receive a push message. This is a test message. Dear colleagues, I checked with software and all messages have been sent received. Followed by, just so Hajo believes it too. Hajo is a male's name. This one dude accidentally sent millions of people a message just to prove his colleague wrong. The GM of my office was having issues with the sales team. He's been known to go overboard. This time, he hit reply all and called one of the sales guy a dirty freaking and needless to say once HR got a hold of the email, his 27-year career was over. When I was in college I worked at a local ISP. One day, out of the blue, the lead sysadmin calls me. Hey, do you know how to break into a cobalt rack? I need you to delete an email. Small hosting server. UHH. I could probably figure something out. Worst case I can reboot it and reset the password. Crap. Frick. Never mind. That'll take too long. Click. A bit confused, I just shrugged and went on with my day. Later I found out the reason for the strange phone call. The customer had been emailing back and forth with the sysadmin and the company owner regarding some technical issue that led to a billing dispute. The sysadmin, having a very short temper, hit reply all without thinking and wrote something along the lines of just because $customer likes to take it up the arse, doesn't mean we need to bend over and let him do whatever he wants. He called me to break into the server so that I could delete the email before the customer had a chance to read it. Unfortunately, the customer got the email immediately and received a lot of free hosting services. Co-worker's baby died during childbirth. They announced the funeral. Guy in sales replies all with his congratulations to the deserving couple. I used to work for one of the largest newspapers in the world. One day an email came through that was literally sent to the entire company worldwide. It was the contract a new hire who was a significant person at a rival paper was about to sign, with a salary that was astronomical. The body text essentially said give him whatever he wants. The woman who accidentally sent the email was kicked out of the building that day. Guy sent a listen babe, I just need to finish one last report and then I'll pick you up and frick your brain out in the car, okay? Sounds awesome, right? Yeah, until we noticed the address he meant to send it to was a subscription service for fake relationships. Dirty talk. Not a reply all, but my friend was using our inter-office instant messenger. Meant to send the following message to me. Well, if she stopped trying to frick all of her clients, maybe she'd hit her sales target for once. Yeah, sent it to her instead. He got fired. Someone at work sent an email asking for donations to his church. He sent it to over 2k employees. Then the chaos started. At first I could see my inbox rise in number 5, 10, 25, etc. Suddenly hundreds of emails poured in with some messages saying I don't want to donate and you should not send this email to everyone. No crap. I couldn't decide who the biggest idiot were, the guy who sent the email or the buttholes that replied all. The best email was from the IT director telling us not to reply all because the server was going to crash, and then it crashed. I work at a public institution. We send out term schedules to departments so chairs, deans, and administrative assistants can review and make necessary changes. We had a chair reply back once the following: I've made some changes to the schedule. Can you rerun the report and send it to me for my dipshit former secretary? This is with the dean, chairs of the other departments in that academic college, and administrative assistants of that academic college all copied in, including the dipshit. Apparently she was on her way to being terminated for some reason. She was gone pretty soon afterward. The head manager of my R&D lab got a spam email about a Windows virus involving a legit java.exe file that had a teddy bear icon. JDBGMGREGS. He looks on his computer and, lo and behold, it's on his machine. He proceeded to lose his crap and forwarded it to everyone in the company, telling them to delete the file. He did not run this by IT first. IT was not amused. A sign showing a teddy bear with a dagger through its head labeled the Teddy Bear Slayer was found on his office door the next morning. Our company uses an IM service that's divided into rooms for each department as well as individual chats. We had a temp one year who flew through her work but did it poorly. She completed something like 24 tasks when the average temp did 5 or 6, but I'd have to stay late, waste time fixing them. It was too far into our busy season to do anything else. So one night I messaged my co-worker like ugh, name redacted, did like 25 things again. Now I get to fix them and she goes ugh, frick, and then a third person goes that sucks. And I realized I'd sent the message to our entire department, including the aforementioned temp. First time I ever made a co-worker cry. It was so bad. I made up some excuse that we both knew was BS and I still cringe thinking about it. Worked at Max's division of EA in the late 90s. We had a few temporary employee game testers, including this one chick around 20 or so. I guess some friend of hers emailed her at work. One of those stupid teenager spams that went something like, forward this email to 5 friends, and your crush will ask you out. Forward it to 10 friends, and your crush will kiss you. So somehow she forwarded it to EA all, every employee at EA, maybe 2,500 people at the time, I suppose. I think our email system allowed a recall function to pull it out of the inboxes of anybody who hadn't read it yet, and I think she tried that, but it was too late. It outraged enough people around the company, including Redwood City HQ, Canada, Florida and Texas, that I saw her in her boss's office within the hour, in tears. We never saw her again. Given that she forwarded it to 2,500 friends, she's probably still getting non-stop fricked from her crush and doesn't have time for work. The large consulting firm I worked at was rolling out new laptops company-wide and send out a mass email outlining the 2 laptops that employees could choose from once they received their notification that it was time to choose. Essentially a standard laptop or a smaller laptop that could be converted into a tablet. Several people replied all, but my absolute favorite reply was simply, I want the one that can be like iPad. All lowercase, 0 punctuation, top-notch professionalism. Just last week, an email was mistakenly sent to over 100,000 people in at least a dozen different countries. After about 45 minutes, there were a couple reply all responses. A decent amount of people replied all saying not to reply all, but didn't realize that the email server was backed up trying to send a few million emails. Some emails took over 10 hours from the time sent for me to receive them. This caused more people to say not to reply all, as they hadn't seen anyone else's response saying so yet. Over the next 12 hours, I and every one of the other 100,000 people received over 180 emails, all having to do with wondering what the original email was, or telling us not to reply all. Over 18 million emails in total. A back of the napkin estimation said it cost the companies tens of thousands of dollars. An employee emailed asking if anyone could take his 2:10 shift, but he forgot the effing shift. So someone replies to everyone including our managers and GM. Wow, that's a long crap. In a high-end strategy consulting firm I worked in, there were a lot of farewell mass emails. Due to high turnover, one girl replied to one of those emails. Thanks, you finally mustered up the courage. It motivates me to get an out. I'll definitely work on it. Pressing reply all was probably not intended. Corporate sends out a company-wide email, something to the effect, congratulations to this year's winner of the Lisa Martinez Award for Excellence. Some brown-nosing line supervisor who didn't read the email did a reply all saying, congratulations to Lisa Martinez. Sadly, Lisa had died of cancer a few weeks before and the award was created in her honor. Definitely cringeworthy. Kinda along the same lines, but my ex-girlfriend managed to send out an email to all the bioengineering students at my school with a cool video about nematodes. It was a rickroll. They disabled the reply all option in my company for any type of mass communication but not before a few gems. Twice a year we get our dress code emailed to us. One year, a newbie decided to reply all and say things like I wish I had a job as good as yours so I could afford these fancy clothes. I have never seen so many managers descend so quickly on a person's desk before. Turns out she was bat crap crazy, so was terminated a few months later. Not a reply all, but we have large email groups that you can just type in the to field and it will autocomplete, just like a person's name. This perso sent a video to the entire company of someone ringing a large bell at a sports game in such a manner that it looked like he was jacking off. Groveling apology in record time. There's so many, but my favorite was in reply to a congratulations on the successful project launch email, which went to the project team, their leaders, and some executive sponsors. Someone on the project team replied to all complaining about the project manager making them work late or whatever. She explained that if she saw him in the parking lot she would run him over and squash his head like a pumpkin. It was followed a few hours later with an apology and an assertion that she was joking. Of course I was joking. My car would have just bounced off his fat ass anyway. This is Diamond SpongeBob. He only appears every 200,000 videos. Subscribe for good luck. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.